Welcome to Christian Book Review. I'm Lucas Kitchen. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you know when we have put together a new review or some other piece of content. Okay, we're going to talk about On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness. Now, I have a little bit of a story to tell you about how I got into this book, because I got into this book a little bit before it got picked up by Penguin Random House, I think is the publisher who it's with now. I'm not sure if it was with a division of Penguin Random House before that, but it wasn't with them originally, I don't think, and then when it was successful, I think they picked it up. I don't know what the story is, but anyway, something changed because the cover changed, and they got a new audiobook version with the author, etc., etc. So, let me tell you about how I was introduced to this book. I went to, like years ago, I went looking for Christian fantasy and sci-fi, and this one was on every list, right? On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness. And so I got a copy of the audiobook because we were going to take a trip to Yellowstone. And I started listening, and I didn't dig it. I mean, I don't know why. It didn't strike me. I kind of got lost, probably because my baby was in the back crying or something. I remember, listening for a few minutes was like, I don't know what's going on. So I let it sit. And I didn't read it or listen to it anymore. And then a couple years later, one of my buddies who I share office space with, who is in my age range and a dad of many, he said, I read a book. And I was like, okay, cool. He said, actually, I read a whole series and there's 4 books in it. I was like, okay. And he said, it's fiction, and he was just like really excited about it. And he started talking to me about it. And I was like, wait a minute, I think I know about this book. That's On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness, right? It's kind of a weird name, kind of like a tongue-in-cheek, kind of almost silly, overdone name, and so his review of it to me got me to go and take a second look, and so that's what I hope I'm going to help you do. Here's the thing about On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness: the beginning of the book could be completely sliced off. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is a great book. It's great for your kids. It's great for adults. It's a really fun book. I know a number of adults who have enjoyed this book, but I'm going to say, in my opinion, the book could start, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 words in. You could cut the entire first section of this book off, and I think it would be a better book. Now, the reason for that is there is an exposition dump at the beginning. Now, the beautiful thing about this book is after that exposition dump at the beginning, he doesn't do that anymore, except in little humorous footnotes. There's little exposition pieces, but it's a good way to do it throughout the rest of the book because it's funny and it's enjoyable. At the beginning, there is some humor in what he does, but it opens in a way that doesn't get you into the story right away, and I think that is that kind of hurts the ability to get into the book. That is my only criticism of it, though. So I start with that, and then I'm gonna shift now to the things that I really loved about this book. And you'll notice that on my scorecard, it scored really high. So the age, now the thing is, I think anybody of any age could enjoy this book. My mother-in-law and father-in-law, who are in their 60s, liked this book. My kids, who are as young as 4 right now, I mean, I have a baby, but he's not understanding anything. So even my 4-year-old really enjoyed this book. So this book is written in a way that's just, it's family oriented. And that's one of the unique things about this book is it's not a kid who escapes his family to go have an adventure. It's a set of kids who have an adventure with their family. And it really honors the family relationships. The prose are good. I wouldn't say like brilliantly poetic, but there are moments in this book where it does go into a real lyrical kind of poeticism. And I think the reason for that is it's written by Andrew Peterson, who is a award-winning songwriter. And so there's moments where it almost feels like, golly, we've gone into like lyrics in a way. And then a lot of the book is just really good, adequate description and prose. The plot was really satisfying. There were some interesting turns. Now, you might say any little piece of the plot may have some derivative aspects because it's standard fantasy, kind of without a lot of the magical. There's some kind of magical aspects, but there's no real sorcery in it exactly, except in the later books that kind of comes in. But in this book, the plot isn't too convenient. It's satisfying. It moves along in a kind of an unexpected way, and things happen. There was a couple of real good reveals too, a couple of twists that I really was surprised about, and that's what satisfies me, is when the author does something that's surprising, and I go, oh yeah, well done. I could see it foreshadowed, but it wasn't foreshadowed so hard that it cast a hard shadow that I could recognize and know what was coming. So I think that was good. As I said, the exposition, there was a little bit of an exposition dump at the beginning, but the rest of the book really covered over that. And once I got past that opening chapter or so, the book started moving along, and it was a really solid, really enjoyable read. Conceptually unique. Now, it's hard for me to distinguish between the uniqueness of the first book and the following three. I would say conceptually, book 2, 3, and 4 were even stronger conceptually, but the first one had some really interesting, unique concepts in it. But I would say his conceptual strength grows throughout the series, and by the end, there's some really powerful imagery and powerful pieces in it that are very unique. And he did a few things in these books that I haven't really seen anywhere else. And so some really good marks on that. The dialogue was good. I marked it pretty high towards lyrical because there's a few characters that have some really unique style. The grandfather in this has a really unique dialogue style. He has a very unique voice, which is good. The granddaughter, Lily, I think was her name, also kind of had a unique lilt to her dialogue. So anyway, there was some really diverse voices in the dialogue, and so that is good. So focus, I was with it the whole time. I mean, my mind didn't wander, I don't think, a single time. And this was on audiobook, which is, for me, where my mind wanders more than reading. So this was a well-paced book. That's usually what focus is about, is it paced well to keep your mind on it. And the characters are moving, they're active, they're, running from danger or seeking the answers they're looking for. It was well plotted, so the focus was good. Scope, I put scope right in the middle because it does deal lots of very personal things, but as it goes along, it begins to deal more with the political scheme. Now, again, I'm kind of grading this book for the whole series because you don't realize that what you're seeing is going to wind up being kind of at the political scope, in the first book. But it all ties in, and it ties in really nicely. Narrative, lots of dialogue, and then the Christian themes. I will say the Christian themes are very subtle in this. The characters do pray to the Creator, and there are some allegorical aspects, but this isn't allegory. I don't know. Some people have called it allegory. I don't see it as allegory. Not this book, not the series. It's just an interesting world that they're in that has a Creator and has kind of an origin story that relates to ours. And so I would call this like alternative world, what do you call that? A different world, a different realm, but with similar religious themes that kind of run through it. So I am absolutely convinced that there are people that read this and enjoy it that are not believers, that just are enjoying it as a good story. But I think a lot of believers who have read it, a lot of Christians who have read it, see those see those themes in it and can enjoy it. So I would highly suggest you taking a look at the Wingfeather Saga. No, it's over here. The Wingfeather Saga. So I should say this. I read the entire first book without showing it to my kids yet. Because I enjoyed it. It was just good. And so I read it, and then I brought my kids on it, and then with my kids I did the whole rest of the series. So I'm reviewing this for me, although my kids could give you a review too, and they are just gaga over it. Now, there is an added little piece here that I think is valuable. They are developing with VidAngel is the studio, I think, or maybe VidAngel's a partner. But Andrew Peterson and his team, and along with I think VidAngel, are producing a animated series based on the book series. And so I don't know when it's going to come out. It should be pretty soon, I think. I guess maybe season 1 is on its way. Because they're starting funding for the next season already. But anyway, point being, this is a great time to get into this series because before long you'll be able to watch the animated series on VidAngel and probably maybe other platforms. I don't know, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be good. I've looked at some of the material that they've put out as promo, and it looks great. And the story's solid. It's going to be a fun story for a TV show, for a series. So I think this is a good time to get into it, so that when that show comes out, you'll already be able to decide whether you like the book better or the series better. My opinion is those are two different art forms. We should love them both, and love them separately. Okay, so that's my take on the first book in the Wingfeather Saga, On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness. I highly suggest that you take a look at it. I think you'll really enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the notification bell down below. We'll see you next time.